going amazing people. My name is Jacob Polo, and I am your life coach, your counselor, your spiritual guru. Ironically, yes, personal trainer. Mind, body, and soul specialist for the last 17 and a half years. So, nearly 2 decades of experience all over the world, international. I'm currently residing back home in Australia after my very own relationship breakdown. I divorced, got my papers this week, and I see so much diabolical nonsense online. And this is a pet peeve of mine, of people asking advice from ill-equipped people with no professional or intellectual or experience in something. They ask advice, or idiots give advice, basically. And unfortunately, the people in trauma and in these drowning situations try to find information where they can, the light and the darkness, the last breath before they drown. I get that. Been there, done that. I was young and an idiot as well. A woman put me on top of a cliff once, and my best mate at the time, he held on to me. No one else gave a fuck. No one else climbed up there and got me. He did. And he said it was, if I go, he goes. And from that very moment, I've dedicated my life to being there for others in my darkest time, like I had in that one experience, but in all others that I had. So I make sure that I'm there. Hence my decades of research and development, doing studies with Cambridge, doing studies with Harvard, doing their courses, and they're like the highest level educational platforms, teaching you the science of happiness, or teaching you about nutrition and how it affects you, teaching you about the neuroscience and studying neuroscience and knowing just how the brain works and their body and what comes in and out, how you're a chemical cocktail, and how you can pivot that to be, instead of being a raging river of negativity, it's a raging river of positivity. You know what I mean? And being able to hit the brakes and abstain from negative, like just cloud of darkness swallowing you whole. And just being a voice of reason. So, I thought I might do a series, since as it's getting traction. I'm seeing so much nonsense out there. How do you deal with a divorce, since I'm going through it? And, and how do you find inner peace in that? Number one, don't distract and run. I saw this moron shit online today that irritated me enough to have to do this. Running from your situation, your problem, and trying to get away from it, make yourself feel better so you don't think or feel. The thing was, go and fuck a bunch of people until you feel better. Sure, I did that when I was young. I was an idiot. Sure, and luckily I'm a bloody male model, so I used to slay. But then I learned a skill set of becoming celibate in my life, and I went for 7 years. Could you imagine that? In college, as a male model, 7 years, turning down fucking orgies. Yeah, that pissed the girls off. But I did, because it was an unhealthy thing for me. Now, my struggle, I'm back being celibate again after my divorce. Yeah, I had my, went off and had fun, fell in love again, but with a model, and then had my fun with this new pandemic, which is OnlyFans. And no thing to it, but it's just not who I am, and I'm more mature than that. And I realized, well, I can't keep hurting myself and hurting others, and I must deal with what's happening to me and internally. So fucking people is not fixing you, healing you, and abstaining from self-medication so that you can work through the emotion and the trauma and the pain and let it come out without trying to stop it, without trying to end it. Just let the suffering and sit in the suffering and just feed that suffering. As neuroscience and as a spiritual guru that I am, lived in fucking Thailand with monks and done the whole thing, so pretty legit with this. As you sit in the suffering and you turn the suffering into not pleasure, because the seeking of pleasure is slavery to evil, because what you own owns you. Like Albert Einstein, all gurus and spiritual people since the beginning of time all say the same thing. Neuroscience is the same thing. Chasing pleasure, which is the dopamine and epinephrine and all these oxytocins and all these chemicals to feel good is actually keeping you feeling bad, because your body, which is called inner peace, but in neuroscience it's called homeostasis, and it wants that peace. It doesn't want the adrenaline junkie, the feel-good dopamine to feel good. So what it does is it releases cortisol and stresses so that your body goes from here back to here. But because you're sitting here so high all the freaking time in the first world country, you're totally tapped out and you're completely off balance. So you have high suffering and you just ping pong without inner peace. Long story short, you want to sit in your suffering, which is evil, thank you Buddha, and turn that suffering into peace, which is self-mastery, the elite divine self-master. And then from that, you administer self-love, and you become the source of self-love. So there is no more hate, there is no more pain, there is no more suffering. There is only opportunities for you to grow and ascend and achieve greatness. No hate but love. So if you want to go through this as I'm going through this, yeah, I was crying just out of nowhere, heavy yesterday for no particular reason, just boom, hit me. And I did my steps, and I didn't try to run from it, and I just laid there and let it swallow me whole. And when it was finished, it was finished. I didn't need to run from it. And that's what I'm going to teach you, males and females, is stop groveling and being such a weak, pathetic piece of shit that you are moved or need to remove. And that being, if you're not the master in here, you're weak, right? You're not the god. You're the fucking slave to evil. And if you were the god, then nothing external that would happen to you, or the removal of something external, would ever affect you. You would never be changed. So when you become the god, everything is subject to you. You're not subject to externalism. There is nothing that, you're unfuckable. So it doesn't matter what happens or doesn't. You have zero expectations. You are wealthy. You are the most valuable and richest person in the entire existence within. So there is nothing some poor peasant can say or do, take or you're not get, and you're not fazed or affected. Until you've reached that inner mastery, you're nothing but a peasant. You're nothing but a worthless, weak, useless piece of shit. And you will continually be a junkie chasing things and being affected. I didn't get what I want, so I react. I didn't get what I want, so I'm sad. Oh, what I wanted was taken away, so I'm sad. That's pathetic. Where is your self-worth and self-value that you are the one that's in control of emotion? Something so menial and so primitive and so useless as emotions, thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, doing and not doing, understanding the cost that you will pay whether you do something or not do something. Why is something so menial have so much control over you? So, little shout out, I have a 500,000 word book on the way. Just so you know, the last 5 years of my work living in Brazil, and when I was living in America and doing my work there as a guru, I've been silently on the hush-hush, writing the new Bible, full-on neuroscience program of spiritual enlightenment and how to become a god. So I've got it all, and I'm working very closely with my private client at the moment, one-on-one. I do that sort of stuff for very special people or very special. I select my clients, as all professionals do. Like, you can only help who you can help, and you can only help those who are willing to do it. You can give anybody anything, unless they do it, nothing's going to change. So soon I will be finished with this client, and he will be ascended and evolved and out of the darkness and the creative light, just like all my other private clients have. And I look forward to the day that I can dedicate and offset that time to being more public, and maybe I'm looking to open my doors in more of a active way personally, with counseling, doing private, opening up my private company again, and